Hey everyone, Steven here with another fragrance review from Redolessence, and today we'll be taking a closer look at Blue Sugar by Aquolina. Now, if you're familiar with Aquolina, you know that they're responsible for many women's fragrances. That's actually all that they have in their repertoire, with the exception of Blue Sugar for men. Now, if you've smelled Pink Sugar for women, which this is supposed to be a male or a masculine rendition of, then you're very well familiar with what this one will smell like. It's very confectionery, very sweet. As a matter of fact, it's the epitome of a gourmand fragrance. But even though it has man written on the label, I personally believe that this one is a very unisex fragrance. With the Pink Sugar, you do get that cotton candy accord. It does smell very sweet. It does make you want to lick your hand after you spray it on there. This one is a little more toned down. It does have that masculine quality. I wouldn't be so inclined to call it refined, but there is coriander and cedar in the composition of this fragrance. I'm not sure if it's Virginian cedar or Chinese cedar, but it does have that wood aspect, and it does have the spices in there. Now the spices are also sweet and not sweet. The coriander isn't sweet, but it does have anise in there, and the anise is persistent from start to finish just because it serves as a base note. And then we also have licorice in here. So as I said for Lolita Lempica's Eau Masculine, if you do not like licorice, this is one that you have to stay away from. Even though it has that cotton candy accord and you may be a big fan of cotton candy, that's not necessarily saying that you're going to like the licorice. So definitely be careful when you're buying this. Of course, never blind buy. I never recommend anyone blind buy any fragrance for that matter. But this one actually smells very nice. If I remember correctly, I do recall a fellow YouTube reviewer saying that if you're over the age of 18 and you're wearing this fragrance, that you need to take a psychological evaluation. I can see where he's coming from. I certainly agree with him. I've only worn this out in public once. Even though I like the way it smells and I have it in my collection just for reference, just because it is a very unique smell, it is a very immature and juvenile fragrance. I feel like once you get out of high school, once you hit college, once you hit your 20s, there are so many other fragrances out there that would be a much more accurate representation of one's masculinity or one's sweetness or so, just one's personality, whether you're playful or you're docile. This one is definitely to be worn by someone who's very jubilant, very active, very playful, very rambunctious, if I can even use that term. If you don't have that type of personality, if you're very shy, if you're a hermit, if you're reserved, if you're modest, if you're a wallflower, you definitely cannot wear this fragrance. It will actually incite confused looks from people. So this is one to avoid at all costs if you don't think that that's the type of person you are. However, it is a very nice smell. It's sweet. Sometimes it could even be sickly sweet. I have had people tell me that it's cloying, that it's too sweet for them, but those people also weren't the biggest fans of licorice, so it could be because of that accord. But I did wear this to work just once. As you can tell, the liquid is very close to the top. I only used maybe 10 sprays the most of this, and many of them were for reference. But in the one day that I did wear this to work, I had a coworker say, as soon as I walked in the room, I had a coworker say, "Wow, something smells good in here." And he couldn't guess that it was the fragrance that I was wearing. He probably thought that somebody had brought in a sweet or a dessert and just let it sit around somewhere, and that's probably where he thought that smell originated from. However, it was from the fragrance I was wearing, and that's precisely why I wore it to work that day, because I wanted to see what sort of reactions this fragrance would incite. And for him to say that something smelled good, and for him to not be able to pinpoint that it was the fragrance that I was wearing, even though, that would imply me walking into the room the same time that he smelled it, that would imply that I were wearing it. For him not to be able to catch up on that implies to me that this isn't a fragrance, or this isn't a smell that people would expect someone to spray on their skin. This isn't a smell that people would expect to be found in a fragrance bottle or in a cologne bottle, just because it is very sweet, it's very sickly sweet, and I agree, it is very immature and juvenile. However, the more that you wear it, the more that it tends to mature, just because of the coriander and the cedar in this fragrance. However, versatility on this one is very low, just because I wouldn't wear this to a semi-formal or even a formal setting. I wouldn't wear this to work again. And really just the places that I could wear this, because of the mixed reactions that I've been getting from this one, are very low. So versatility didn't really fare too well, but if you like the way it smells, if it makes you happy, that's really what it's all about. So to each his own, or her own for that matter, just because I can picture women wearing this fragrance. Definitely do what makes you happy, and don't listen to what other people say about this fragrance. This is one that you have to sample on your own. Personally, I wouldn't wear this in public again, maybe not until Halloween or something, but definitely to each his own. This is a very nice one, and it does mature over time. So for the perfume pyramid, I already ran through the notes once, but let's see if I can cover something that I didn't mention before. We do have the mandarin orange and bergamot in the top, so like I said, if you want this to last a little bit longer, just put a few sprays on your shirt, and that will keep the citrus lasting longer without compromising those qualities, and they will persist a little bit longer. And this is a clear liquid, so you can spray this on your shirt without the fear of it staining your shirt. In the mid, we have coriander, patchouli, lavender, which gives it a floral, and the patchouli gives it an herbaceous feel. Then we have licorice, and then in the base we have tonka bean, which gives it a sweet touch, as if it didn't have enough sweet accords in it already, star anise and cedar. Now, in terms of the rating for this fragrance, for uniqueness, I ended up giving this one an 8 out of 10. Do I have any other fragrance in my collection that smells like this one? No, I don't. So it certainly is unique. Yes, it is very comparable to Lolita Lempica's Eau Masculine, but this is the only one that I have in my fragrance whose smell resembles that of cotton candy, or that has a cotton candy accord. So yes, it is a fairly unique fragrance in my collection in terms of smell, so I gave it an 8 out of 10. Longevity, 7 out of 10. This one does last a little, it is an eau de toilette concentration, so it fulfills its purpose. For what it's made out to do, I think it definitely satisfies, and you can't expect too much from this one. Now, concerning the price tag, this is a fairly inexpensive fragrance, so this is one that you can afford to spray a few times throughout the day without a fear of breaking the bank. But it does its job, 7 out of 10 for longevity. In terms of projection, ended up giving this one a 6 out of 10. Like I said, the sweet quality will persist from beginning to end. The citrus, however, does not stay in there too long. That's one thing that I actually favored very much about this fragrance, just because it tends to subdue the sweet qualities. I mean, if they had released a sport version or a fresh version of this fragrance that's a little more toned down, not so sweet, maybe I'd be more likely to wear it in public and feel much more comfortable wearing it. But this one actually makes me feel very self-conscious when I wear it in public, just because I feel like I'd be getting too much attention and it wouldn't necessarily be in a positive way. So for that reason alone, I like the fact that it doesn't project too much. But this one is a fragrance that smells a lot more than dinner that you would get, than a dessert that you would get at TGI Fridays or Applebee's, than it does a fragrance. So, but projection, a 6 out of 10. Versatility, ended up giving this one a 3 out of 10. Yes, I know it is a fairly low mark, but like I said, cannot be worn to a semi-formal or even a formal occasion. I wouldn't wear this to work again. I wouldn't wear this, I don't recommend anyone over the age of 20 wearing this fragrance, just because there are many other more masculine, more refined fragrances out there that still have that sweet accord. This one I think is very childish, but once again, to each his own. If it makes you happy, if you feel comfortable wearing this fragrance and it's an accurate representation of your personality, then that's what it should be about, really. Ultimately, that's what it boils down to. But 3 out of 10 for versatility, especially in the summer. This one, just because it resembles like a very sweet syrup, whenever I spray it on my skin, it tends to give off a sticky vibe, so that discourages me personally from wearing this one. It probably is 100% psychological, but I can't wear this one. It's just a matter of personal preference. Presentation, 8 out of 10. Very nice bottle. It does resemble Creed's original Santal with the way that it fades from the bottom to the top and gets lighter. The smell is not comparable at all to original Santal, but yes, the bottle does resemble it a bit, and even Fahrenheit by Dior, if I'm not mistaken. It fades to a very transparent and less opaque top, and then it has Blue Sugar Man written on the top in blue letters, so it's very legible, and I like that about it. However, it has a very light cardboard insulation inside the box, if you can make that out. And when I put this bottle in there, to me it just feels like it rattles around a lot, and that doesn't make me feel very safe when I store it in here. Even with the cap on, there's still a lot of space in here to spare, so if it had like a foam padding in there, I think I would feel a lot more comfortable taking this fragrance with me to places. But like I said, this isn't one that I wear in public too often, so I don't really have to worry about that. But despite that, this did very well for presentation. 8 out of 10. I think it satisfies the theme, and it's a nice one. And overall mark, 32 out of 50 for this one. So there you have it. Thanks for watching. As always, please don't forget to comment, rate, and subscribe. If you own this fragrance, let me know your takes on it. What kind of personality do you have? Do you still wear this fragrance despite your personality? Do you think it is an accurate representation of your personality? Does it resemble who you are, or does it not? What occasions have you worn this on? And what I'd like to know the most is what kind of comments or compliments even have you gotten when you wore this fragrance in public? So once again, thanks for watching, and this has been Steven with another fragrance review from Redolessence.